Hello and welcome, but you know what? This didn't play, so this one. I don't know if I have told you, but I am a huge Christmas fan. Uh, I just love it. Christmas is something which just makes me go completely awesome. And I'm just trying to add one more link here so that gets added as well. Give me one moment, guys. Thank you so much. uh, it is now added. Yes, thank you. uh, okay, let's see if this one goes live. Low now. All these edits that I will have to do. Oh, it went live. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in. Well, I'm not sure how many of you are already aware, but as I said, I am absolutely a huge Christmas fan. Festivities, the gingerbread, the spices, the smells, the lights. Actually, my wife calls me a moth. She says I get attracted too much towards the lights. And as of right now, not that it's of any interest to anybody, but just want to share this anyway. I am on a tour right now in Europe. I'm just trying to visit as many countries as possible to try and cover as many Christmas markets as possible. So I've already been to Vienna, I've been to Prague, I've been to Nuremberg, I've been to Dresden, I've been to Regensburg, I've been to Rothenburg, I've been to Strasbourg. I'm today in Basel in Switzerland and off to Colmar tomorrow. So very excited with all these. And of course, it's the lights, it's the spices, the sounds, the food. Of course, it's all yum. And while we have been, I mean, at least I have been too excited with this Christmas, I think there is somebody else who's very excited with Christmas coming and the festivities and all this positivity and this warm, fuzzy feeling and the cheers. And that, it seems, is IRCC. Why? Because what they did, thankfully, was they conducted the express entry draw, which I think we've been waiting for, what, like almost 5 months now. And they actually conducted a draw which which at least I was not expecting. I was thinking 3,000, 4,000 kind of a thing, but they threw a beautiful gift hamper for everybody, and they conducted invitations, drew invitations for 6,000, which I think is second largest after having conducted a draw since, what, 14, 15 months now, after quite a long time that they have conducted such a big size draw. Uh, it was a long time coming, and if you've been watching my previous videos, I've been saying this so many times, right, that the inventory of the number of applications that are there in the pipeline are not too many at this point of time. They are now sitting on the final decisions. A lot of you who have been receiving your P1s and P2s are not seeing your COPRs, or if your application is showing final decision, it's not showing you're not getting your P1 yet. If you've got your P1, you're not getting your P2. If you're getting your P2, you're not getting your ESOPR. So that last bit of your application processing at this point of time is on a bit of a hold up, and I'm sure you will agree with that. And that's primarily because they have achieved their this year's immigration targets, and now that they are holding all of these results for next year. This has been happening for quite a few years now, and this is a very common routine, common trend that we see towards the end of the year. So nothing new in that aspect. Other than that, we were hoping that they sign off this year with a big bang, which they did, thankfully. Not only did they conduct an express entry Canadian experience class draws, they also conducted their draw for their second favorite. When I'm saying second favorite, obviously the most favorite is the French category. So they did conduct their draw also for the second favorite category, which is the healthcare category. And they did invite 1,000 people there as well. So overall, this week has been very busy at IRCC. It has been very exciting for a lot of you, for 7,000 of you. No, not 7,000. Actually, that's not true. Because out of these 7,000, at least I know of some, because I've been discussing it with some of you. There were a few duplicate profiles as well, right? Why? For some reason, you think that if you create your express entry profile with spouse not accompanying and have a higher score, and at the same point of time also create another profile with spouse accompanying with a lower score, and you're hoping to get an invitation on the second one. But that's not how express entry works, right? Express entry always invites the top scorers, means you will always get invited in your profile which has a higher score. Now, in some of you, you've actually got two ITAs. You got an ITA in a higher scoring profile, as well as you got an ITA in the lower scoring profile. In this case, it feels criminal, to say the least, because now I know of two instances. I do not know how many out there might be, where you guys have taken away somebody else's chance, somebody who has really been waiting, somebody who has really been struggling, somebody who was probably had pinned their last hopes on this particular draw. So guys, don't do that. Don't create these duplicate profiles. It's mess. And if you're doing your spouse not accompanying and accompanying, well, you should know that as of right now, okay, I'm not sure what went wrong there, but something completely went out of the picture there. This camera has stopped working, so I'm back to my laptop camera, which, as you can see, is not the best quality. So I guess we'll have to make this work. I hope the audio is now working, because again, this camera also, sorry, this microphone also stopped working. These things always happen when you don't want them to happen. Right. If you can just quickly message and let me know if you can at least hear me, so we can continue with this live stream. Anybody? Still no comments yet. Still waiting. No? Okay, working now. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yes, all good. So yes, don't create those duplicate profiles. Spouse not accompanying is not looking like a good idea. Plus, what is happening is, if you do create two profiles, everything has an electronic footprint. Everything is being recorded. Everything, IRCC can see that you have two profiles. In one profile, you're showing your spouse is not accompanying. In another profile, you're showing as your spouse accompanying, which basically then means that you're trying to fool the system, and therefore you might get into more trouble than you would want to buy into. So please be careful. Please don't do those kind of things. And of course, your duplicate profiles is not helping those individuals who are otherwise going to get invited, and that's not helping them as well. So please don't do that. But you know what? Let's continue with our weekly roundup, which I seem to have also lost. So let me see if I can pull. I have it here. So let's start with the weekly roundup so we can get back and talk about it more again. Express entry. On the 8th of December, this is where it started. PNP draw was conducted. And 8th of December actually wasn't it? Yeah, 8th of December was a Monday, and we knew whenever the Monday draw happens with PNP, then there is another draw around the corner, and that's exactly what happened. 1,123 invitations were issued with a CRS score of 729, and as anticipated, really with a lot of expectations and hope, on the 10th of December this year, IRCC conducted another express entry draw. With this was a CEC specific, Canadian Experience Class specific. 6,000 invitations were issued, and score of 520, which was brilliant. Now, the last draw was at 531, bringing it down to 520, bringing it down by 11 points was really a huge breather for so many of you out there. And I'm sure you would want to see this happening. Now, we'll talk about it as to how or when and in what circumstances will these draws continue or not continue, or how that is going to look like. In the meantime, don't decline your ITAs. Don't be in a rush to do that if there is any instance there. And the very next day, on the 11th of December, IRCC conducted another draw, which was Healthcare and Social Services Occupation, which is version 2 of the categories for healthcare. They invited a total of 1,000 people, and CRS score was a decent 476. Now, obviously, as a lot of you would have wanted, the score didn't drop. The score actually went up by 4 points. The previous draw was at 472. This one is at 476. But then one of the reasons why the score, instead of dropping, went up is because of the number of invitations, which was quite low at only 1,000. Therefore, it is, as you would by now know how the math works with IRCC, the less number of invitations, the higher the score, the high number of invitations, the lower the scores. And that's exactly what happened over here. But let's very quickly take a look at the pool breakdown. The pool breakdown is of the 7th of December. This was before the express entry draw that was conducted for CEC happened. And here, as you can see, you had 27,000 people with the score of 501 plus. Right now, this 27,000 people now obviously are way below 21,000. But again, each day, each week, you will have more people keep getting added to the pool with the 501 scores. But as of right now, for a change, at least we are back to 21,000. I'm not sure if you remember when they did remove the LMIA points earlier this year in the month of March, and then they conducted a draw. I think it was in month of April and then May. The pool had dropped. The 501 pool had dropped. The range between 501 to 600 had dropped to about 19,800. So we are pretty close to that number. Now, all that is required from here on is for IRCC to continue conducting these draws. And this is where it will get very, very interesting. First things first, is this the last draw? Is this the last hurrah of 2025? I would really, really, really like to hope and believe that it's not so. I would like to believe that there should be another draw around the corner, and I'm hoping for a draw during the week of 22nd of December. Now, I can't actually remember if there is a precedence. I didn't get time to go back and check if there have been any draws that have been conducted in the week of Christmas. That week, had there been conducted any draw? I haven't really gone back and checked. If any one of you right now, obviously, because if I start looking at this, then I obviously can't do my live stream. But I would really appreciate if one of you would very quickly go through the past draws and message in comments and let me know if there has been a draw and what dates was those draws in. I have a feeling there was, I think, a 22nd or a 23rd December draw. I have a feeling. But I can't remember which year that was. But it would be nice to know if there was a precedence, because for some reason, people believe that after 15th December, okay, there are a couple of people saying it happened in, thank you, Sharmishta Mehta, thank you for confirming. Thank you, Sumit Desai, thank you for confirming. It happened in 2023. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate that. So 2023, I think it was on the 22nd. Somebody says there is no precedence. Of course, there is no precedence in the sense like they don't have to conduct a draw, but I think they did conduct a draw, and some people have just confirmed it happened in 2023. In the week of Christmas, for some reason, people believe that IRCC goes to sleep, that they don't conduct any draws in December, that they, or I mean after the 15th of December or after 20th of December, and that there is a complete holiday and they are not working, and that actually that's not true at all. They do get their public holidays, of course, and the public holidays is 25th and 26th. 25th and 26th December, and then you will have the 1st of January. Now this year, a lot of people are saying no, I do not know what no means, but let's see. This year, 22nd December is a Monday, so it's a working day. 23rd, 24th are also working days, and 22nd being a Monday, 23rd being a Wednesday, there is a high possibility for a draw. And again, 25th is Christmas, so that is going to be a holiday, and then 26th is a Boxing Day, so that is a long weekend. So you will have 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 4 days off. Obviously they're not going to be working, and then comes 29th, 30th, 31st, which is again 3 days which are working days, and again 1st of January is a day off, and I'm sure some people are going to combine it with 2nd of January and take a long weekend again. But there is no such thing like IRCC goes to sleep, that IRCC will not be working. That's not how it works. They're pretty much working. I mean, visa offices are working, and there is no issues in them conducting the draws as such. So 22nd, 23rd, 24th, I will be really keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that Santa just goes down the chimney in the IRCC offices and delivers some cookies there. So deliver some presents there and grabs those cookies, so that people are happy and fuzzy, and conducts another draw, because that draw is what is going to make a real difference in this pool. This year the scores haven't gone below 518 Canadian experience class. Last year it went right down to 509, so anything below 518 hasn't happened. And yeah, so if they do conduct another draw, we would like to see the scores go below 518. That would be really nice. But again, who's to say? Only IRCC is the big boss. They are the only ones who can actually come out and say that yes, they will conduct a draw, no, they will not conduct a draw, or how the draw is going to look like. So just gonna switch on this thing here so that lights are on. But apart from that, in most other cases, the processing continues, but I think they will be holding back on their processing. No, I don't want this. All right, let's keep going with this. Did the number of invitations actually drop this year? Because we were having this expectation that this year IRCC will not be issuing as many invitations because the number of quotas have dropped, but actually that's not the case. In Express Entry, the quotas or the permanent residence target was actually higher by 7,000. So they had, the quota for this year was about 124,000. And as you know, IRCC went totally bonkers conducting the draw under the French category, inviting about 42,000. So this is how it looks like at this point of time. The number of ITAs, did they drop this year? Actually, no, they did not drop. So from 1st of January until the 11th of December this year, IRCC has actually issued 102,599 invitations, and December isn't even over yet, right? And the way the distribution looks like, French, you have 42,000. CEC now sits pretty with 30,850 after that 6,000 draw. Healthcare went up to 14,500, which is pretty healthy. Now PNPs, of course, they come under the PNP quota, so that's not fair to count them under the Federal High Skilled. And then you have education, 3,500, and then you have trades, which got only 1,250, which is pretty sad, because I would have liked to see more draws being conducted under trades category. Meanwhile, 𝗂𝗲'𝗀𝗃 has been very kind in checking. 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, there were 4 days of consecutive draws. I think it was a PNP draw, and I think it was an agri draw and a trade draw, and I think there was something else. Yes, but thank you so much for confirming. I really appreciate that, 𝗂𝗲. So yeah, I would have liked to see this year more trades category draw. For some reason, they just completely went cold turkey on trades. They also did not do anything to do with, they basically didn't want to have anything to do with STEM category, which was also very strange. Didn't expect that. And because again, with STEM category, even if let's say they are saying, okay, we are not interested in IT tech, well, they already removed the IT tech out, and then largely STEM now includes only engineering, not code. So why? And of course that sector remains highly in demand. So not sure why the STEM category was completely ignored. Of course, as we move along, as we prod along, we will get more information about that. We will get some insight into the way they have conducted the draws through their ATIP notes. So, I mean, I've applied for several of them. Let's see which one comes through first. And of course, we will share that information with you. To compare, 2024 had ended with only 98,903 ITAs, which was much lower than 2023, and 2025 is already higher, proving that the volume did not fall. It's just the priorities that have changed, and French has clearly dominated. Now, while this has happened, it does not mean that all 42,000 ITAs of under French category actually will see a positive result. IRCC also through the ATIP notes have clarified that the reason they have been issuing such high number of ITAs for French category is because there is a very high number of rejections and refusals in the French category. So in order to, again, maintain their targets for this year and the next, they had to then go back and issue more invitations. So let's see how those numbers will pan out. Again, we will get more information through the ATIPs. Now, PNPs, of course, there were some PNP draws as well. There was one from Manitoba on the 5th of December. 184 letters of advice to apply were issued. And this was 10 under the employer services, 20 under the francophone, 21 under the regional, and then 7 under the ethno-cultural communities and temporary public policy. They come up with all different categories which they haven't really even announced, but yeah, they do keep picking up people depending on how they would like to invite them. So that's another Manitoba. Okay, what else is here? Quebec has invited 649 candidates for PR under the program deselection. Okay, I wouldn't even try to pronounce because my French is really, really bad. So I'll go back with PSTQ program. And this round focused on candidates who are already living in Quebec, working in regulated professions. Ontario, now they did a big draw again. They conducted a draw on the 10th of December and they conducted another one on the 11th. This one was focusing on healthcare occupations, early childhood educators, and regional immigration through REDI, R-E-D-I pilot. And the breakdown was in healthcare and EC. They invited 1,057 candidates. Under the REDI pilot, they invited 76. And the cutoff scores for foreign workers, so obviously all their different streams, the foreign worker streams, international student stream, in-demand skill stream, all of them had people who were being invited under these geographies. So they invited people from the central Ontario region, and they invited people from the REDI region. They invited again from the Eastern Ontario, Northwestern Ontario, Southwestern Ontario, Central Ontario. And in all these cases, they kept GTA out, which tells you this is huge. And what it tells you is that if you are targeting Ontario category draws or Ontario employer-driven draws, this whole year, they have been very clear in not giving any priority, not giving or sending out any invitations to people who are inside the GTA area. So if you are a person who in future are looking to apply under the Ontario's streams, maybe you can consider moving out of the province. And it is not you physically moving out, it is your employer's location which will make the biggest difference. So try to look for employment opportunities outside the GTA area so that you can take advantage of this program. British Columbia also invited 410 candidates. High economic impact candidates were invited. 96 invitations were sent to individuals whose minimum wage per hour was $87, and they had a job offer in category tier 0 to 3, and then 314 invitations were sent out with a minimum score of 138 points. Again, both, as you can imagine, are pretty high. $87 per hour is very, very high. Of course, all of us would like to see that salary coming into our accounts, and even 138 score in the BC PNP is quite high. But they did send out 410 invitations, which tells you that there are a lot of people out there who do manage to get such high scores. In PNP updates, Alberta has added 28,700 jobs in November, which is a good hurrah for them. Saskatchewan labor market update, they have added 14,900 full-time and 1,600 part-time jobs. Again, big hurrah for them as well. Now, Ontario, this one is very interesting. For people who are on Twitter, for people who are there on some other platforms, Instagram, etc., you have already been seeing these conspiracy theory that is being floated around, and this is with regards to Ontario's Ontario's skilled trade stream draw. Now, skilled trade stream draw, as we all know, 14th of November, they had suspended that stream and they had cancelled the application. They returned the application. And then what happened is suddenly on the 4th of December onwards, we started seeing some people who did get their nomination under the skilled trade stream. So everybody was wondering that if Ontario had already cancelled the skilled trade stream, then how is it some people are getting their nomination? How did that happen? Because in all fairness, if they are sending out nominations to few of them, they should be reopening all the application and send it out to everybody. Why is it that they have taken only few applications and are sending out nomination? Again, as I said, a lot of conspiracy theories were floated around. A lot of people were posting some, all kinds of videos on Instagram, etc. But then, thanks to Mandeep Lidhar, and Mandeep Lidhar has shared this screenshot on his Twitter account, and that's where we've been able to get it. And if you read through this, and I'm just going to make it larger, it says, prior to the suspension of the stream, the return of the applications with refund, already before that date, 59 applications were already approved for certificate of nomination. The director had informed these applicants today, that is on the 4th of December, that their nominations have been approved and their certificates of nominations were sent out. And Ontario Ministry has already confirmed that all applications in this stream remain closed as communicated, and this decision will not be changed. So this puts to rest all that conspiracy theories that have been floating around that Ontario is reopening the application stream or that the skilled trade stream, some of them are getting unfair advantage. That's not the case. I think Ontario has maintained that clarity, has provided that clarification as well. So that should put that controversy to rest. In other news, okay, this is another one. IRCC has clarified the post-graduation work permit regulations, and that basically means, and this has to do with your, for people who are going to apply for their postgraduate work permits. I hope you already know that if you are studying part-time in any semester other than your last semester, then you lose eligibility to apply for postgraduate work permit. However, in your last semester, if you fail a course, and then obviously that becomes part-time, and then you continue with that program for 1 year, and then again you take another 1 year program, and again in that 1 year program, in the second semester or your last semester, you again fail one course and therefore having to study again. So now you have two 1 year programs. In both these programs, in the last semester, you either failed the course and had to retake the course, therefore your second last semester became part-time. In both these cases, IRCC had clarified that this will be considered as you having been studying part-time in your last semester, and therefore you will continue to be eligible. It is therefore very important that if you are in such a situation and you're making your application for your postgraduate work permit, you provide a detailed letter of explanation clarifying these situations about your part-time. Otherwise, you will risk not getting your postgraduate work permit, which is going to be a shame. And there was some other information as well. The clarification also comes that your field of study requirements are now applied consistently across programs. Means if you have taken one or more, or the two different programs, both they should fall within the field of study requirements. It cannot be that your one is eligible and the other is not eligible. Therefore, you might lose your eligibility for postgraduate work permit again. So please be careful. Go back to the IRCC website before you apply for your postgraduate work permit so that you have taken care of all the conditions and requirements therein. IRCC has created a new express entry category stream. Oh, where did it go? Here. And this is for physicians in Canada. And they have allocated 5,000 slots to this stream, including the PNP pathways for the 5,000. So total of 5,000, which also includes PNP pathways. This is the new express entry category. And this is for physicians, the doctors who have at least 1 year of Canadian work experience, not foreign work experience, Canadian work experience. And this has to be within the last 3 years, has to be continuous, 1 year, full-time Canadian work experience. And they will start sending out invitations early 2026. And while you have submitted your PR application, you will also be eligible to get a 14-day work permit processing. So if your work permit is expiring, you can apply for an extension of your work permit, so that, and it will be approved, they are saying, within 14 days. I have to wait and see that happening, 14 days processing. But this is going to help IRCC retain this very, very important category in Canada itself. Canada is also launching Global Impact Research Talent Initiative. 1.7 billion is being invested because they would like to attract more than 1,000 world leading researchers. Now, these are not necessarily postdoc, but these will absolutely be individuals who would have some sort of, it can be postdoc, of course. Why can't it be postdoc? They will have some sort of research experience. They would have a job offer from some of the other institutions in Canada. And the key programs here include Impact Plus Research Chairs, Emerging Leaders Program, Research Infrastructure Fund, and Research Training Awards. 600 doctoral and 400 postdoc awards are going to be awarded under this one. And hopefully they're also looking to retain a lot of PhD students who come to Canada and then they leave because there aren't enough opportunities in Canada. So this is another way of holding them back. Canada is preparing for FIFA World Cup. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but Canada is going to be a co-host along with United States and Mexico. And the matches are in Canada, in Toronto and Vancouver from the 11th of June until the 19th of July. Visitors from countries like Germany, Ghana, Croatia, Australia, and Qatar are advised apply early. And if those countries are eligible for their ETAs, then of course, I mean, for example, Australia, Germany, Qatar are eligible to apply for ETAs earlier. And this is expected to create 25,000 jobs and contribute 2 billion to Canada's economy. This would be great. So if you are looking to apply for one of these visas, the suggestion would be to apply as soon as possible. Don't wait till the last minute. You might be tough out of luck. All right, what else have we got? That's basically it. Connect with us on social media platforms. We are everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. And on that note, let's make it a little bit, where did we go? We had something planned out here. There you go. No, holiday cheers. No, it doesn't look that nice, right? It just covers up the entire face and entire screen. No, we're going to hold that back. I have something else. For people who received their invitations this week, we are running a promotion. We are offering 15% discount on our representation services, and they're actually valid for 48 hours after ITA. And I know I'm making a late announcement, but because I'm making a late announcement, this promotion is now extended until Monday, just because I have made a late announcement on this one. So if you are interested, if you have received your ITA within this week's draws, then by all means, please drop us an email, support@askkubeir.com for Instagram. For Instagram, it's up here. For YouTube and everybody, it's here. Support@askkubeir.com. Please, by all means, do drop us an email. We'll be very happy to be your authorized representative and extend you a 15% discount on our otherwise complete application handling. And yeah, would be happy to do that. And of course, if you wish to book an appointment instead to discuss your application, to discuss your queries, concerns. I know a lot of people are still getting PFLs, which is a shame, but unfortunately it happens. Then by all means, this is the link, askkubeir.com/appointment or askkubeir.com/consultation. For Instagram, it's up here. And by all means, book a consultation, and then we can discuss what's going on with that. What else have we got? I am planning for one masterclass, which is going to be towards the end of the year, and it's basically meant to help those people who are handling their own applications, but are not sure how to get their queries answered. Obviously, don't want to pay very high fee of $200 for me for my consultation, but would like to get some answers, would like to get some queries done. So we are planning for something towards the end of the year, end of December. I don't have a date yet. I know my team was struggling to find a venue which could be large enough to accommodate. Unfortunately, it won't be on a weekend, or at most, even if we do it on a weekend, it's going to be early next year. Then it's going to be probably on the 3rd of January, which is a Saturday. That's the most earliest weekend we can get. I will be making more announcements on that one once we have identified the date and everything, and hopefully we can then meet you guys who are in Canada, in Toronto region, in person. You can come in there and then we can talk more about it in terms of what, as in answering your queries, questions in person. There will be a small fee to it. I won't do it for free because in the past we have realized a lot of people sign up and don't turn up, which is a shame because we restrict the numbers because the numbers go out of hand and then people don't turn up. It's because for some reason people think free doesn't have any value. And therefore, we have decided we are not going to do any of those free seminars anymore because people just don't value it. So we would like you to value your time and our time, and therefore there is going to be a fee, not a big one, but a very small fee. And yes, we would include that as well. But again, more information will come. I think it's probably going to be 3rd of January at most that I can think of. But that information will come out to you soon. And as of right now, lots and lots of questions. So let's get started with those. Somebody says, do it online. Well, that's what I do. I do it all the time. I do it online. I keep posting videos online. I keep answering questions online. We have a very good Facebook group. A lot of people are answering questions there as well. There is a lot of help out there. There is a lot of information out there. The only problem is that the information comes from all different sources and not all sources are reliable. Actually, some people who are commenting, some people who give answers are outright trash. And they shouldn't be giving answers. Okay, somebody says, you need to stop doing live and you need to stop your spreading misinformation. There you go. So this is the classic case of trash that I was talking about. So these are the kind of information, these are the kind of accounts which are trashy and you shouldn't follow. But this is what social media does. Anybody is behind a keyboard, anybody can post anything that they want, and what do you do with them? So therefore, let us trash this one out first of all. Where did it go? Oh, I lost that guy. All right. So get that one out. Now, as far as arrange it for all who are in India, can't arrange it for everybody. That's the reason we do live. Obviously, there's only so much you can do at a given point of time. And when we do it, there you go. See, you have these people who are so desperate from their own situations in their own lives that they have got nothing else to do but post trashy comments. But what can you do, right? Okay, what else have we got here? Got CEC invite this week. Wife is a PhD student but currently is in India for 2 months. What should we do for wife's PCC and medical as I apply from Canada while wife is in India? Well, then you apply for your wife as if showing that your wife is in India and obtain her PCC from India. Otherwise, if your wife is going to be back in Canada, then you can apply for a PCC while she's in Canada. And of course, you won't get the PCC in time. So you can always add a letter of explanation with proof that you've already applied for PCC and that you would be providing the police clearance once you receive it. So yeah, that's the way to go about it. Francophone work permit, easy way to extend if I get CLB5. I don't know if that's what kind of a question that is. Is it an easy way? Yes, it's an easy way. It's an application you make online. You need your employer's support. You need your job offer. You need your work experience documents. Your employer has to pay compliance fee. And yes, it's an easy application. I'm a full-time first-year apprentice electrician. If I want to go for in-school apprenticeship training for block 2 or 3 months as applied postgraduate work permit. Is it possible? I applied for my postgraduate in May, but it's still in process. I'm not sure what you're asking me. You want to go in school for apprenticeship training. Now, the thing is, in most cases, if you're getting a work permit, now your work permit says very clearly that you cannot study. And therefore, if you're doing any in-person training, that could be trouble. Now, I know IRCC website has a lot of misleading content in different areas, and we've handled this before as well, where it it indicates or it points to the fact that if you are doing any program which is shorter duration, which is less than 6 months, then that is allowed. But that applies to people during their first entry or their first status in Canada. So that's tricky. And therefore, my recommendation would be for you to apply for a study permit again, rather make another study permit if you want to be studying. As of right now, IRCC is, I mean, if this was an online program, if this was, correspondence program, digital or distance learning, you could have done it. That's not a problem. But in person, apprenticeship training, if the apprenticeship training is going to be considered as work, then because you are on an open work permit, that's allowed. But if this is going to be considered as purely a program that you are studying, that becomes a bit of an issue. It conflicts with the requirement of whether you can study while you're on a work permit or not. So my recommendation would be to apply for a study permit and get that information directly from IRCC, as in them saying that yes, you can study or not. Because I have seen a couple of cases where they have refused applications later on, where they have said that you are not allowed to study, but you did study, and therefore you are non-compliance of immigration law. Therefore, you are inadmissible under Section 41(1), and that doesn't really 41A, sorry, and that doesn't help. So yeah. Postgraduate work permit holder now in India for vacation, renewed my passport this week. What to expect during return travel? Get new postgraduate work permit with new passport. Postgraduate work permits are not issued again with a new passport number. If you have your postgraduate work permit, which is valid, you please travel with both your passports, your old and new. You should have a valid visa. I hope you have that. And then you travel back to Canada. You don't need to do anything else. I got an ITA but lack 45 days experience. My 6 months finish before expiry. Reject ITA or apply later? I don't know what you mean by apply later, but you should complete your work experience, and only then, only after completing that required period of work experience, should you then submit your PR application. Be very careful. Do not try to submit it sooner. I got my CEC ITA. PCC was issued in May and I haven't traveled to India since. Is new PCC required? Well, I've covered this aspect. I mean, I've covered this issue so many times before. If you have applied for a police clearance while you were outside that country and you have never traveled back to the same country for which you were the PCC after that, then you may consider the same PCC as valid. Do add a cover letter with your PCC stating that you got this PCC while you were outside the country, you haven't traveled back, and it should be considered as valid. Do you think healthcare draw will go back to 462? Well, who am I to think whether it will go back to 462 or not? It is always dependent on the number of invitations issued. The more the invitations, the lower the score. We don't even know if healthcare will be the same next year. Will there be any changes to it? Will they remove some? Will they remove some codes from it, or they will add some codes? That's also highly possible. Nova Scotia Skilled ask 2-year passport validity while applying. I have 1 year 11-month validity. If I apply, can I apply with proof that I applied for passport renewal, and will be getting my new passport in a few months? Again, this goes directly against their basic criteria. Now, if their criteria is very clear and they have indicated they need 2 years of passport validity, and if you don't have it, then you are always taking a risk or a chance, and it will always be at the discretion of the officer. So yeah, sure, you can apply but again, have you received an invitation? Only if you have received an invitation should you risk applying. If you haven't received an invitation, then don't create your expression of interest. Make sure you first renew your passport and then do it. Otherwise, it will only be at the discretion of the officer, and only the officer can decide whether they will accept it or not. Full-time work started in December, but took 3-week vacation. When to claim 1 year work? Extra 3 weeks before claiming it? Well, there are more than 1 or 2 questions here, but yes, you can... in your 1 year of paid work experience, up to 2 weeks paid vacation is allowed. It's reasonable, it's expected. So all you will need is to be working for 1 more week before you can say that your work experience is completed for 1 year. Cash salary, we require job letter and pay stubs. Any problem? I don't know what the question here is. I mean, any problem with what? Cash salary, we require job letter and pay stubs. So at the end of the day, for any employment, you have to prove the the knock code, the period of work, the hours per week, and the fact that you were paid. And you provided through your reference letter, and you provided through your pay stubs, you provided through your cash salary certificate. That is the main requirement. If you're able to provide it, then you should be good. Cash salary in foreign work permit, any refusal if we prove? Well, if you prove, then why should there be any refusal, right? Got international student stream invite, mandatory to show funds largely in mine and my spouse's TFSA and stock invested, okay to release funds and show them as proof. Well, for Ontario's applications, they do accept the fact that you have a job offer or you are currently working as your proof of funds, or in lieu of proof of funds. So please follow the document checklist that Ontario has on their page. It's quite comprehensive. It's quite detailed. It will tell you what exactly you need for each section. And if you are currently working, you have a job, which I think you should, because you have been invited under the international student stream, then you don't really need proof of funds. And if you do have to provide your proof of funds anyways, then your TFSAs and your stocks, etc., you can also provide them, or you can show the account that you have or the access to funds that you have. Employer won't add weekly working hours to my job reference letter if I have an offer letter from them that indicates how many hours per day, not per week. Any risk of application rejected? It's for CEC. Well, the problem here is that it's your responsibility to prove that when your employer is saying full time, that how many hours per week were you working. So your employment reference letter must mention full time or must mention hours per week. If either of that is missing, or it should mention either or, but if the information is missing about your hours per week, then it becomes your responsibility to prove how many hours per week you were working, because IRCC has no way of establishing otherwise. And you can provide an explanation. You can write to your employer and ask them for this information. Let them reply back on the email and say, no, we won't provide it. Then you can, in lieu of that, provide your employment letter and provide a detailed explanation about this. Post ITA for CEC, can I move freelance work done in visitor record to personal history from work history, no impact on CRS, and explain it in LOE? Absolutely, you can. I mean, I don't know why you would show it in your work history anyways, right? But yes, please, by all means, anything you've done on your visitor record, you couldn't have done it in Canada anyways. If you were working in Canada for an employer in Canada, even if it was freelance, that is illegal work. So please be very careful. And if this freelance work was for an employer outside Canada, that's absolutely fine. Then yes, you can, of course, move it to the personal history section. No problem with that. I've started remote work experience. Am I obligated to inform my current Canadian full-time employer? Nothing mentioned in the offer letter. No, these things are always an arrangement between you and your employer, what you can disclose, what you cannot, what you should tell them, what you should not. That is always going to be between you and your employer. And if your employer needs you to provide it to them, then you will have to. And if they don't need you to provide it to them, then you don't have to. So it's, as I said, it's entirely between you and your employer all the way through. How IRCC will count vacation period for part-time worker? I have 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks without shift for 6 months. Continuous work experience for healthcare job, but accrued 4 days for vacation. I am quite confused. So basically, if it is 6 months of work, then you would be having 1 week of vacation. If it is 12 months of work, then you will have 2 weeks of vacation. So that's pretty much how they will be calculating. And your pay stubs or your employer can also give what are the accrued hours that you have or accrued days that you have for your vacation, and that can be compensated in terms of work experience. That is a paid vacation in lieu of your work experience. Work permit expiry 23rd of December. ITA received at 5/27, but 3 years experience will be done in Jan. I'm on contract job. Can I apply for work permit extension and then PGWP on maintained status? It's very tricky, to be very honest. This is going to be a situation where dummy extension is what you're going to be doing. Again, dummy extension has got seriously a bad name right now. A lot of people are quite concerned and worried about dummy extensions. I cannot recommend and tell you do apply for a work permit extension when you're not eligible, because technically you would be in non-compliance of the immigration laws. So it's a chance that you will have to be seeing how you wish to take. It can impact your application. Under normal circumstances, you don't have a chance. Under normal circumstances, if you cannot work in Canada, you cannot claim those points. So LMIA, closed work permit, you can do a C11 work permit for significant Canadian benefits. You can do, which is again a closed work permit. You can do a French level 5 speaking and listening, of course, if you know that language. But if you're going to be asking for recommendation, dummy extensions, at least I'm not going to recommend and tell you here on my live stream that do apply for dummy extension or not. That is something which you will have to decide. Until today, I haven't seen anybody getting penalized for it. Until today, I haven't seen anybody facing any issues from IRCC with it. But yes, it is something which there is no provision for you to apply. So it's a judgment call for you. Work permit is expiring next year, June. I already applied for PNP express entry with NOC code, so-and-so, 42201. Can I extend my work permit if I don't get PNP before expiring? How will you apply for work permit? You've already applied for PNP express entry. If you've already applied for PNP express entry, then you would have received your AOR. If you have received your AOR, then you will apply for your bridge open work permit. So I'm not sure what confusion do we have here. CEC applicant need to show proof of funds? No, CEC applicants don't need to show proof of funds. I'm recently passed RCIC, IRB, and religiously follow you since I was applying for my PR in 2020. I want to say thank you for all the guidance. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Very kind of you to have joined the stream and posted that comment. Thank you so much. Worked in Canada CEC category, now back in India working in healthcare. Will I still be considered CEC in healthcare draw? Yes, you would be. First of all, category draws do not distinguish between CECs and FSW. Category draws include all different streams that are there. So if you are a Canadian experience class and you are eligible in a healthcare category, then yes, you would be a CEC category applicant. Can I study short-term courses under 6 months on open work permit, have a restriction on work permit? Well, I've just explained this earlier. Work permits have very clearly indicated that you cannot be studying. And if it says that, then what? I mean, you shouldn't have to be doubtful about that, right? At the end of the day, if IRCC says I can study not only the first 6 months, but upon entry, but whenever I need until expiry, but not during applied status. I do not know where you have read this. I haven't seen this anywhere. And IRCC has not said this anywhere. I don't trust their social media accounts when they give this kind of information, because there is nothing in the law. There is no Immigration Refugee Protection Act or Immigration Refugee Protection Regulations which state that on a work permit you can study if a program is less than 6 months. The only thing that is indicated for studying under less than 6 months is for people on their initial entry or the initial period of authorized stay, and that has been the biggest gray area for a lot of people to misunderstand this. And if your if your work permit very clearly mentions you can't study, then anything that you have to, I mean, why would you even think they would put that on your work permit if at all you were eligible, right? There is no reason for them to be making that kind of a comment or remark on your work permit. So please, when you're saying IRCC says I can study, where do they say that? There is no place where IRCC says that you can study while you are on your work permit. No place. You can check again and again and again. And please do not fall into the trap of following their social media responses, because those are given to you by their agents. They are not RCICs. They are not lawyers. They are not officers. They are, and every time they will say that officer will review each application or each instance on a case-to-case basis, etc., etc. And there have been so many instances where they have said their social media accounts are not to be relied upon. So please be very careful before you follow that. Will large size CEC draws continue in Jan 2026? Well, fingers are crossed. I certainly hope so, but no, of course not. They will not be continuing with 6,000 kind of invitations all the time. I think there will have to be some sort of a balance. I do not know what that balance is going to be, but no, I don't expect 6,000 kind of a draws all the time. Worked full-time from 21st of November as a student. Postgraduate work permit applied from 18th, approved in August. For CEC, should I claim work from 18th and how show this in PR? Well, start your work experience in your work history from May. and the period of work that you have from 21st of November 2022 until 18th of May, or whatever the date that you were working until as a student, that goes in your personal history. So only your eligible period of work will go in your work history. The period of work that you have completed while you were a student will go in your personal history, and you can add a letter of explanation. 460 now in Feb. 473 postgraduate valid till 27 February. Healthcare license profession. Any chance in EE healthcare or Ontario phase 2? There are too many questions that we are going here with Ontario, BC, PNP, Express Entry. Can't look at all of them at the same time. But yes, at the end of the day, if you're looking at Ontario or BC, PNP, in both cases, you will need an employer support, employer job offer. If you can get that, then you become eligible there. As far as Express Entry is concerned, there is no way to say what their draws are going to go down to. From your side, the effort or the way to do this is to improve your scores as much as possible. Because when you were at 460 and the last draw came at 462, you were obviously hoping that the scores are going to drop again, right? Sorry, 472. And therefore, you were expecting the scores to drop. Yeah, it's not always going to work like that. Therefore, from your side, the effort should be to continue to improve your scores as high as possible so that you can take advantage of the draws when they happen. Because now that the healthcare draw has happened, we do not know when the next draw will happen. So the longer the duration of time within the next draw and this one, more people keep getting added into the pool. And then again, the number of invitations will decide. Currently on work permit extension, recently received ITA, wife, spouse work permit also in extension. Suggest when to apply bridge open work permit to make sure a status doesn't expire. Well, your status doesn't expire. If you are on a work permit extension, I do not know what kind of work permit extension. If this is a valid work permit extension, then of course, if it gets approved, then you will remain on status. If this is one of your dummy extensions that you applied, then no matter what will happen, you will lose status. The only thing you can do is once you have submitted your AOR, or once you have submitted your PR application, take your AOR, send it to IRCC through the web form and request them to treat your work permit extension application as a bridge open work permit. If they accept, then they will approve it. Otherwise, they will refuse your work permit extension, which they should because it's a dummy extension. Then you will be out of status. And then in your restoration period, you can apply for your bridge open work permit. But there is no situation here where you will not lose status. You will lose status unless IRCC considers your application as a bridge. I'm working for 3 years in India. At my father's office, I showed 2.5 years on study permit, but claimed points for 3 years. Am I risking a PFL? Of course. If you showed only 2.5 years, where did the 6 months come from? I mean, how are you claiming 3 years if you have shown only 2.5 years, right? So are you risking a PFL? Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is a huge disparity. If you have shown in your study permit only 2.5 years and now you're claiming points for 3 years, think about it. I mean, you yourself have a concern. So there is a reason why you have a concern. You know, this is something wrong and something fishy here, right? So yeah, please be prudent about it. Expect if IRCC is going to dig deeper into this, then they will have a very serious issue. They might even question you for misrepresentation here, because if you had only 2.5 years, how the hell did you get 3 years now? So that's a question. Unless you submitted your application at that point of time, you had 2.5 years, and while your application for study permit was processing, you continued to work there, and therefore you got 6 more months before you came to Canada. That, of course, is a possibility. And in that case, that even if they send you a PFL, you can always explain. That's not an issue. Working for your father's office is a red flag. Yes, sometimes there can be credibility concerns. We have seen that in the past. They've had issues. But if it was legit work experience, you have proper documentation, bank statements, pay stubs, income tax returns, then I think you'll be fine. Divorce is in process. I got ITA. Can I proceed as married, non-accompanying, and legally exclude my spouse? No, you can't, because if you're going to show married and non-accompanying, you have to provide PCC and medicals. You cannot get exempted. So in your case, if your divorce is in process, you should file yourself as legally separated under the legal separation documents, which you don't need to provide upfront, but you should provide explanation that you are currently undergoing divorce. You can provide documentation from your lawyer, which will confirm about your divorce petition. You can provide an affidavit which says you will not sponsor your spouse because you're already undergoing a divorce, and then provide all the required documents with a detailed explanation. If you file yourself as legally separated, you will not require your spouse's PCCs and medical. But if you show it as married and non-accompanying, you definitely require. And at first stage itself, R10 stage, your application will get rejected. Got an ITA, I'm short by 21 days for 2 years Canadian experience. Does IRCC 4 to 6% reasonable vacation rule allow to this count? No, absolutely not. If you're short, you're short. If you're going to say this 21 days, I'm short, so count it towards work experience, my vacation, it doesn't work like that. You have to have been paid for those 21 days for it to be counted as paid vacation. So the best thing is to work for 21 days more, count it as your work experience, and add those pay stubs as well. Chance for 523 in June 2026, future of cooks in Skilled Trades. No idea whatsoever. Absolutely no idea, because I do not know when IRCC is planning the draws. I do not know what categories they are planning and when they are planning. So no, absolutely no way of saying. However, 523 is a decent score. And if everything continues the way things are and they continue with the regular draws, hopefully they should, then yeah, 523 is a definite possibility. Post by Steven Murin says to not delay your EAPR if you get invited early. If the work experience is continuous, received ITA and want to apply as soon as possible. I have no idea which post by Steven Murin you are talking about, but I can tell you very, very clearly and very, I do not know what do I need to provide to you. You can check section A11.2. At the time you submit your PR application, if you haven't completed your valid period of work, then you cannot get those points. So I'm not sure what post Steven has posted or what you're talking about, but if you haven't completed your work experience, please don't submit your your PR application. You are in your rush to apply ASAP. You are simply risking your application. 3 years work permit starts in 2023. I have 4 months of data engineer, and in 2025 I have 4 months as logistics. I have 1 employer. Okay, what is the question? Can I add 1 year? Yes, you can add all of these. As a Canadian experience class, you can have even 12 different employers, 12 different work experience, as long as they were all paid, they were all full-time, and they were all under a valid tier code 0, 1, 2, or 3. You can have mix and match combination of everything. That's absolutely fine, no problem. Do I need to put affidavit? Different is only Kumar in education certificate. My wife has issue. We both need to put affidavits after marriage name. Well, yeah, I mean, why not? Just add one and the same person affidavit to remove any ambiguity whatsoever. If we apply for work permit extensions, we received only online receipt but not confirmation of submission. Can we give receipt to the employer with ITA as a received invitation under CEC? You can, but your invitation for CEC has got no relevance or no consequence with your authorization to work. So for an employer, your ITA means nothing at all. What you are looking to do is provide them with the confirmation of you having submitted your work permit application, and you can pick up the section of the law. I don't remember what section it comes under. I'll have to really look it up. Section 183, no, 182 is restoration, 183, I can't remember. But you'll have to check the 𝗲𝗯𝗲, and you can obviously take a copy of that and you can share it with your employer and say, as per this particular section of the law, if I am on implied status or maintained status, I can continue working. We haven't exited Canada in the last 2 years. Have Indian PCC taken in 2024, received ITA. Do we need to retake Indian PCC? No, you don't need to. You can use the same police clearance if it was obtained while you were outside that country and you haven't traveled back. Do add a cover letter stating you got the PCC while you were outside that country, you haven't traveled back, therefore that PCC should be considered as valid. So you can use that. If we have only pay stub and job letter in cash salary case and no ITR and bank deposit due to low income profit, can we give affidavit? Yes, you can provide an affidavit. You can explain that you have got a cash salary certificate. You can provide a cash salary certificate. You can even give a letter from your employer stating that the salary was paid in cash, and that's not a problem either. I got ITA because IRCC is reading my points as 525, but I don't really reach 3 years of experience until after the ITA expires. Please advise. Well, in this case, you will have to decline your ITA and then wait for the next draw. Only then you can continue. Because if there is no way for you to complete your 3 years of experience, then you cannot continue with the ITA. My 1 year skilled trade experience will be completed on 17th of February. Can I create the Express Entry profile today with claiming 1 year trade experience? No, you cannot. We are 2 months away from February the 17th. How can you claim, with 10 months, how can you claim 1 year of experience? No, you can't. ADR 6 pay stubs. I can't really understand what you're saying. But work till November end, position not available now, started working same position, full-time, same employer, only have 1 pay stub. ADR 6 pay stubs, Feb, August, restoration period, approval on August, but didn't work till November end, position not available, now started working some. I have no clue, my friend, no clue what you're asking me. After my eligibility was passed, I received resume ADR. My background check is in progress under tier category 0 knock. What is the rationale for ADR? My documentation was accurate and comprehensive. CEC inland. Well, sometimes they do ask for your resumes to identify your background. Sometimes there could be a missing information. Sometimes there could be a missing link. Sometimes you might have not addressed a certain aspect about your education or your work experience properly. That is usually the way they have seen. And sometimes they just want to match your resume with your background checks that they might have the information on, probably with your profile that they may have seen online somewhere. 𝗂𝗶𝗃 query. My Indian PCC is from August. I visited India in August. Spouse not accompanying. PCC is from August. She stayed in Canada August to November. Now in India, submitting EAPR around Feb. Need new PCCs? Yes, you do. If your PCC was issued in August and then you visited India in August, then your PCC is no longer valid. I know what IRCC website says, and I know it is a bit of a contentious issue. It is a bit debatable because it says that you should get your PCC after your last visit of 6 months or after your last stay of 6 months. However, I've seen too many refusals to discredit that claim because IRCC refuses applications where entire duration of your stay in that country is not completed. So therefore, in your case, I would recommend you to get your new PCC. As far as your spouse is concerned, I do not know when your spouse got your PCC. And if the PCC is from August, September, October, November, December, January, February, that will be the 6th month. February is the 6th month. If your spouse's country of residence is India, then if the PCC is within the 6 months, that is acceptable. That is not a problem. But for you, definitely you will need a new PCC. But for your spouse, if it is the country of residence is India and the PCC is within the 6 months validity, then that can work. Postgraduate work permit expiring on 30th of December, waiting for my AIP work permit. I need to work in second job. Can I apply for open work permit by PR on AOR? Need to work for 2 months. I will be PR by Feb. I don't know what you're asking me. You will apply for open work permit on what basis exactly? Do you have your AOR for, if you have applied for your AIP application, PR application, then you can't apply for an open work permit. It will be a closed work permit on the basis of your employer. So I'm honestly not sure what you're trying to ask me. And you can't apply for an open work permit. You have to apply for an AIP closed work permit. Spouse is currently outside Canada waiting spouse open work permit extension. Should we wait and apply for TRV after approval or apply for a visitor now and come back? You can apply for TRV. The chances for approval will going to be less because there is another spouse open work permit application in process. So once the spouse open work permit is approved, then your spouse can apply for TRV. If you want, you can certainly take a chance. In most cases, such applications get refused. Alberta's PR PNP approved, but I want to settle in BC. Will this impact my PR and in my future my citizenship application? Yes, because you got your nomination primarily on the basis that you explicitly stated that you want to live in Alberta. And if you don't want to live in Alberta, then you shouldn't have applied for Alberta PNP. You should have applied for BC PNP. So therefore, this is also considered as misrepresentation. And may, of course, there is nowhere it says that you can't leave. Nowhere does it say that you have to. I mean, of course, your intention is what matters. And if you have explicitly expressed your intention to reside there, then, and you don't do that, then obviously that's considered as misrepresentation. And if there is any random audit by the province or through IRCC, then they can always ask you this question. I started working in Jan. My 3 years of experience will be completed in Jan. Can I submit my PR application on 10th of Jan and wait till 16th of Jan? You should complete. I mean, if I was you, I would not want to take a chance. I would complete. I'm not sure how you are calculating, because if it is 3 years, 3 years will not complete on 9th of Jan. 3 years will complete on 15th of Jan, not 9th of Jan. I'm not sure what is the calculation you have done here, but if it is 16th of Jan, I would want to play it safe. I don't like to take chances. And if it's just a matter of 4 or 5 days, what's the harm, right? Just wait for 5 days and then submit your application on 15th or 16th. On applied work permit, got the job as tech lead in security. Is it eligible for PR, and what design? I don't know. I mean, you'll have to check your knock code. That's how you establish whether it's eligible or not. Please match your duties and responsibilities with the relevant knock code. If it is tier category 0, 1, 2, 3, then it's eligible. If it is not, then it won't be eligible. I have many experience like remote SAP analyst for foreign employer. Both SAP and data engineer are concurrent. Any problem? No, I don't know what your question or concern is. If these are multiple employers or these are multiple jobs, it's not a problem. It's all foreign work experience. There is no restriction. You can work for as many employers. Foreign work experience. Yeah. Again, I'm not very sure what your question here is, but if it is foreign work, if it is Canadian work experience, you are on an open work permit, you can work for as many employers. If it's foreign work experience, you're working for multiple employers, multiple kind of jobs, all are concurrent. It's not an issue at all, as long as there was no restriction on your employment of any type. I did my ECA in April, but I have been working full time since September. Starting when will my 1 year be counted? I don't know what the question here is, but it would be from the day you applied for your postgraduate work permit. So the day you applied for your postgraduate work permit, you can start counting your 1 year work. You can start counting your validity of work experience from that date onwards. My girlfriend is on postgraduate work permit expiring in 2027. Our traditional marriage is end of 2026. I have PR. Can I apply for bridge open work permit for her while after applying for her PR under spousal PR? Can I apply for a bridge open work permit for her after applying for a PR under spousal PR? So yes, you can. So it's not a bridge open work permit. There is no such thing as a bridge open work permit for a spousal sponsorship application. What you will be doing is that once you have applied for your spousal sponsorship, you have the eligibility to apply for an open work permit under the spousal sponsorship. Now, because you have an existing work permit and you're applying for another work permit, you would have maintained status, but it is not called a bridge open work permit. PR precautions for non-accompanying spouse on postgraduate work permit. I don't know, provide all the documents that you have in such case. I'm not sure what you mean by PR precautions for non-accompanying spouse. Just provide police clearance and medicals. I guess that's the main requirement, and provide all the required information. And if it's a non-accompanying spouse, that is already a problem because in most cases, IRCC is refusing those applications. So you should have a very good reason and explanation as to why your spouse is not accompanying. Can I convert closed work permit to open work permit after receiving ITA? You cannot convert a work permit. What you can do is, after you submit your PR application, if you're eligible, you can apply for a bridge open work permit. Your closed work permit conditions will continue to apply until your bridge open work permit is approved, and then you can start working for a different employer. I have applied PNP Express Entry and got my case number, and also got a confirmation letter from IRCC that my application is selected for Express Entry poll. Is that an AOR? I have applied for PNP Express Entry and got my case number, and got a confirmation letter from IRCC that my application is selected for Express Entry pool. Something is not right here. IRCC doesn't send any confirmation letter about your Express Entry pool. And you don't get a case number in Express Entry PNP. In PNP Express Entry, you simply get 600 points. You get an invitation. Once you get an invitation, you complete your PR application, you submit your PR application, and then you wait for the decision. So something is not adding up here. I'm sorry. Referring to previous question, I am a legal I'm on legal work permit extension as I got 1.5 months shorter due to passport expiry. My wife's extension is probably dummy. When should I apply for bridge open work permit to make sure about our status? Again, you cannot make sure about your status. If you have already applied for, if you got 1.5 months shorter, means hopefully that should get approved. And once that is approved, you would have 1.5 more years of work permit. So therefore, you can apply for a bridge open work permit at any point of time for a continued status. So because you will have one more, 1.5 months shorter. Oh, okay. Or I was thinking 1.5 years. No, in this case, again, same thing applies. Even if you have 1.5 months shorter, by the time they come to approving your work permit extension, your 1.5 months would have already passed. So in 99% of such cases, they refuse the application because you've already got the advantage of 1.5 months and they cannot give you a longer duration than your 1.5 months short. So in this case, again, your status will be lost. There is nothing much you can do about it. Once your status is lost, you can apply for a bridge open work permit. If you wish, you can apply for a bridge open work permit after you submit your PR application anyways and request them to continue processing. As per the new rules, as per the new law about subsequent application, if your original work permit status is already expired and if you make another application, then once IRCC refuses your previous application, they will automatically refuse a second. So it's a tough one, and unfortunately, you can't do much about this. OINP job offer with less than 6 months now, as I'm complete 6 months in designation. Do I have to ask my employer for new job offer for the same job offer is valid? Do I withdraw EY and file for a new one? I am not sure what your question here is. If you have a job offer, why would you want to ask for a new job offer? And if your designation is same, and if nothing has changed, I don't know why you would want to get a new job, or why would you want to withdraw your EOI and file for a new one? If there is any change in your title, knock code, and salary, then yes, you will have to withdraw your EOI and file a new one. If everything else is same, then you don't need to. Please elaborate on the chances of trade category happening this exam. All I can say is I hope there is one, but there is no way to know whether they would be conducting one or when they would be conducting one. There is another draw week that I would anticipate, but I have absolutely no way of knowing which draws and which categories. Do I need to show proof of funds to IRCC for non-express entry PNP? No, not really. It's not an upfront requirement, though the requirement is that when you're applying for your non-express entry PNP, you should be in a position to show that you can economically establish yourself in the province. And that is established by the way of your employment, your job, and your funds or combination of it. So if you have funds provided, if not, then just show your employment documents, your pay stubs. And if IRCC asks for proof of fund, at that point of time, you will have to provide. Created e-profile and says I'm eligible for only CEC. Will they consider me for skilled trade draw or FSW required for category-based draw? Yes, they would. CEC always has more priority over FSW and skilled trade. Skilled trade, the program, they are not conducting draws since 2021. Skilled trade, the category within express entry, they conducted one draw already this year. I do not know when the next draw will be. But if your category, if your knock code is in that category, and if your score is high enough, then you would still be considered, yes. Oh boy, still a long way to go. Which question is this? Worked for 1 year, 4 months for employer and was paid my accrued vacation for 2 weeks after leaving my job. I am 2 weeks short to complete my 2 years. Can I use 2 weeks accrued vacation payout as work experience? No, you cannot. Paid something as accrued vacation is not you having worked or you being on vacation. So please wait to complete your 2 weeks, only then submit your application. Can I use my 6 months contract software experience to CEC? Yes, you can. If it was as a fixed term contract, if you were as a contractor, self-employed contractor, that is not eligible. But if it was a fixed term employment, which was employer-employee relationship, you can, yes. Going to India for experience, CEC, health by 27 enough? I don't know. We'll have to wait to see what happens in 2027. Right now, we have 1 full year of 2026 to go ahead. Work permit expires March 8. I need to work until April 15 for a 523 score. 510 now. Planning a dummy extension to revoke in APR. Will revoke prevent issues? I I am again very confusing the way you have written what you are asking. I'm not sure what you're asking me. So all I can say is if your dummy extension gets refused, if you're asking me if it will create any issues, no, it will not. Until now, we have not seen IRCC penalizing anybody for having applied for dummy. Final decision 1 December, COPR number visible. Does that mean file is approved? No, that doesn't mean the file is approved. That means that a final decision stage has been completed and a COPR number has automatically been created. The final decision, the approval will happen when they actually issue your COPR to you. Work permit expires in June. CRS is 514, 2 years experience in RBC, 1 year foreign experience, writing score. Should I wait for a lower draw or rewrite? You should always rewrite if you can. You should always try to improve your scores from your side as much as possible. Never wait for the scores to drop. You never know whether it will happen or not. I had self-employed foreign experience, registered private limited company. However, I didn't draw salary because we were not that big. Would that be a problem? Well, that creates a problem for the self-employed work experience. Not drawing a salary is enough, but if that occupation, if that business was creating income, then you may be able to prove the fact that that was genuine work experience. Otherwise, this is going to be an issue. 3 years foreign work experience, but I don't have ITR, but I have bank statement, which is below the tax bracket. Is it valid? Can I claim points? Yes, you can claim points. 3 years foreign work experience, not a problem. ITR is not mandatory. What they are looking to see is if you are paid. So if you have bank statements that shows that you are paid, then you are absolutely fine. EE profile created in Jan, resubmitted in Jan 24, will resubmit in Jan 25. My CRS score is 518. If score falls down to 518 after resubmission, will the tie-breaking rule apply on my score of 518? Yes, it would. Because if the draw is at 518 and you have just created in January 2025, or 2026 next year, then tiebreaker rule will apply. If the draw is at 517, then tiebreaker rule will not apply to you. It will apply because tiebreaker rule always applies to the exact score under which the draw happened. So last draw 520, the tiebreaker rule applies to the scores of 520. The profiles who are scored as 520, tiebreaker rule applies only to those profiles. Husband recently got work permit extension. I applied for my visitor record before status expiry. Now I tried to apply for spouse open work permit to get checklist. IRCC closed questionnaire. Because you are maintaining your status as a visitor, then, so again, you can apply for an open work permit. That is not a problem. I tried to apply for spouse open to get checklist. IRCC closed questionnaire. Again, I'm not sure what you're trying to do, but there is no such thing as closing the questionnaire. It is only because of the kind of responses you are providing to the questions at IRCC that questionnaire is asking. If you provide incorrect response, then the system determines that you're not eligible for that, and therefore it doesn't provide you with additional options. So you'll have to see what you're answering, use different permutations and combinations, and you will be able to get to it. Moving back to India for experience in education sector to qualify for education draw. I have 1 year of admin experience in Canada. Will it work or it's a waste of time? Well, I can't tell you whether it's a waste of time or whether it will work or not. I don't even know if education category is going to be in priority next year. You'll have to wait and see if it is in priority next year or not. But either which ways, gaining foreign work experience is good because that will give you additional points. Now, whether you get it in, whether it's a waste of time or not, I mean, if you have any other better options, then please use those. If you don't have any other better option, then don't call it waste of time, because you will have to take a chance somewhere. If you start calling everything a waste of time, you probably will not do anything at all. So it's a judgment call. Work permit is expiring in July. Looking for work permit extension option as my spouse work provide LMIA. Also considering entrepreneur worker stream, which is good option for both of us. Work permit extension. I can't tell you on a stream by this question that you're asking me. There are too many things to be considering and looking at over here. If your wife can get an LMIA and she gets a closed work permit, you apply for an open work permit, provided that job that she is doing or rather the work that she's going to be doing is under tier category 0 or 1 or under the specific categories of 2 or 3. Entrepreneur worker stream, first of all, there aren't too many options there. There is only C10, C11. You will have to buy a business. You'll have to invest the money. You'll have to show you have the funds. You'll have to show a business plan. Only then you will be able to apply for a entrepreneur stream work permit. Otherwise, it's the entrepreneur stream PNP pathway, which is much longer, and then you will have to get the approval of the endorsement of the community first, and then you can apply for a work permit. Is it possible to apply for LMIA closed work permit? I'm working for community service worker. Well, unless you come as a charity worker, specifically, not community service worker, but unless specifically there are specific knock code for charity worker, then you might be eligible for an LMIA exempt closed work permit. I know that applying for dummy extension is not preferred, but how much time do we get before they make a decision? There is no fixed time. It could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months, as is being seen now. Health draw 6 months of experience needs to be continuous. Yes, you need to have 6 months of continuous work experience for all category occupations. I got employer-specific closed work permit listed employer as not applicable. Can I work for any employer if I meet location and occupation restrictions criteria? This kind of closed work permit is only for health support workers, for caregiving workers. So if that is your situation, then yes, you could have a different employer, but you're only restricted to work in that occupation. Work permit application as single and want to apply for PR application as common law. Is it possible? Because I haven't shown common law status in work permit application. It could be a concern. I'm not sure what the condition here is and why you did not disclose that. Any conflicting information in your previous application, especially to do with your relationship, can always be a reason for concern and integrity issues. So please be very careful with what you disclose and how you apply. I completed postgrad in Canada on applied as applied status. Will 7 to 8 months work in India in a draw eligible field help given my software background? Well, yes. I mean, you can, if you can get a job in a category occupation which is under the priority occupation, then yes, it is absolutely acceptable. Currently at 510 trade as cook, getting 1 year experience from back home, does it work if I was paid by a check for all 12 months together? Will that be an issue? This sounds like I don't want to be saying it, but think about it. Will you ever work for 1 year without getting paid for 1 year? I mean, does that even work? How does that work? That you will get for all 12 months as together? In my opinion, I mean, if I can see that this could be a possible question mark, IRCC definitely is trained to do that. So will it be an issue? Yes, it will be an issue. At least I can see it as an integrity issue. I see it as a credibility issue. And at least I'm not convinced. So I'm not sure if IRCC will be convinced or not. But then it's not, I don't have to be convinced. I'm not the one who's making a decision. It's IRCC. So from your side, you prepare your application, you provide all the documents. If yours is a legit, genuine work experience, you don't have to be worried about it. My work permit expires in June. CRS 514. If no ITR till June, what is the best option? Can I go to Dubai for 20 days? I'm not sure what you're trying to ask me. You don't need ITR if you can prove that your work experience was paid. So if your work experience was paid, that's good enough. You can just provide that. Can you go to Dubai in March? Yeah, sure. Go to Dubai. No problem. Absolutely. As long as you have a TRV to return back, you can certainly travel. CEC 1 year experience. I used employer with different diverse jobs. Problem. No problem at all. As long they are all tier categories 0, 1, 2, 3. Do I need to show proof of funds under non-EE PNP if I have full-time job? You don't require it upfront, but IRCC can always come back and ask you for more documentation with regards to your proof of funds if there is any change in your employment. I got PNP from Nova Scotia. Then I got PNP from PNP draw. Do I need to show proof of funds? If your work experience in Canada, if you're a CEC, then you don't need proof of funds. If you're not CEC, then you need proof of funds. Completed pharmacy technician program in Canada, but I'm not registered here. In India, pharmacy technician don't need registration. Can I count my Indian work experience under NOC 32124? If you have genuine, legit work experience and you can prove it, then yes, you can claim work experience under the pharmacy technician from India. For gift deed from my mother, can I show proof of her fixed deposit receipt, passbook entry, and my bank statement and certificate with gift deed notarized, or also do I need separate affidavit? Just a notarized gift deed is fine. That itself is an affidavit. So you can show your documentation. You don't have to show your mother's fixed deposit receipts. You will only show your bank statements and a gift deed and proof of that transfer having been made. If someone gets an invitation in Ontario ISS and they have promotion or appraisal, but the basic job responsibilities don't change, will I have to cancel my OINP invitation? This is very tricky. Ontario has been very clear. If there is a change in title, the change in knockcode, change in salary, then you have to create your new expression of interest. My recommendation is, because this is something which comes in their discretion, is to write to them, ask them before you withdraw your invitation or decline your invitation. I expected an LMI job offer but didn't get one. 90 days restoration period is ending, so I returned to India on the 90th day. I did not work during that time and covered my expenses. Will this affect my PR? It can. I have seen some cases where IRCC says that you continue to live in Canada illegally for 90 days. That period was given to you as restoration. That period was not given to you as an extra time to continue living in Canada without any status. So if you are living in Canada, you are in a restoration period and you want to go back, please make sure you apply for your visitor record before you go back. So this can in future create a problem, because here you were in non-compliance of Immigration Refugee Protection Act. Non-express entry PR job offer stream, 19 months timeline ends in December, losing job in Jan. What can be done? Well, you can apply for a work permit. There is nothing you can do. You cannot expedite your PR application. You can write to IRCC, you can follow up, you can contact your MP and request them for a status update. But unfortunately, nothing much can be done. Is old age home volunteer work valid for PR? No volunteer work is valid. Volunteer work means you are not paid, and if you are not paid, then that work experience unfortunately doesn't count. Oh boy, this was a marathon question and answer stream. Thank you so much for joining in, everybody. It was lovely catching up. As I told you, I'm here for the Christmas markets, and my Christmas markets are calling. I need to go. I need to run. Thank you so much for joining in, everybody. Keep the festive cheer up. Stay forever hopeful, and I shall see you next time. Where did it go? Come on, where did it go? There you are.